workshop session on Friday that you guys should definitely take advantage of. There was a question, right?
As a end user, when I go to application where application will create the adaptive automatically.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Pass the mic.
Like that might be good. Well, ladies and gentlemen who are leaving, thank you very much for attending my session. I hope to see you guys on Friday. Thank you.
So the question I was asking is, as an end user, when I go to an application which has integrated as well the PayPal program to create the adaptive account for me, I might have older account that I do not know. So how is the account?
Yeah, the good thing about that is that if you have used that email ID in the past to create that account, you'll come back and say, hey, this account already exists. So it's not going to be create a duplicate account for you. There's a way to recover that account, because once you know that email, this is the email that you use, you can go through a recovery flow to recover your password.
Is there, if I might have multiple accounts, so is there multiple email accounts? So is there only to consolidate the other PayPal accounts that I have?
You can actually add multiple emails to one account, but if you already have multiple accounts with other emails, I don't believe there's an easy way for you to integrate, because we capture your information. So we look at you with an email ID, right? But if you open an account with a particular email ID, but you have 5 other emails, you can bring all those emails to one account. But if you already have 2 accounts, then we treat you as 2 separate customers. But by the way, you should be opening 2 accounts, because we'd rather have you open one account.
The other question I have is, so the application that I have is built on Python.
Okay.
So how do I integrate with PayPal? I saw in the list of APIs Python wasn't listed.
Yeah, I think we should be able to do that. I will have you talk to our developers at the booth. Because you're not the first person to ask that question, and I think there is a way we can address that. But do come on the Friday session, because there they're going to actually give you sample codes and snippets and how to integrate with different programming languages. That way.
Thank you.
So one question.
Yes.
How does PayPal integrate with mobile applications in the current scenario?
So we actually create this MEP service, right? Which is like you can actually think of this as a small little SDK that resides on the application on the mobile, which triggers this APIs. So you can actually look into that MEP and see how you can use that MEP into your code base, and then it would trigger that payment through a mobile device.
So we wouldn't necessarily need to sign in again and again to pay, right?
It depends. I mean, if you're not comfortable, as a consumer, as a customer, if you don't want to be signing in every time, then yes, you can just sign up for a pre-approval agreement with that API call where that merchant is, and then every time you make a payment, it will be a single click experience for you. So let's assume that you're shopping on the App Store, right? Apple's App Store.
Yeah.
So Apple's App Store actually requires you to sign up for recurring payments, so that they reduce any friction, right? Every time you download an application, if you're going to be asked to pay, go to PayPal, log in, it's just not a good streamlined interface. So that's why you just click the application, you say this is your amount, you say buy, now you're done. But you're billed against your PayPal account if you use that. You have a question?
In parallel payment scenario, how do we handle failure of one or few of the transactions?
Good question. So we do have a flag in the API which actually talks about all or none. So you as an API parse can, based on your business models, decide that if one of the segments fail, reverse everything, or if one of the segments fail, let the others go through. So you can actually make that decision at the time of the request.
The response will be having a response flag for each of the transactions which failed.
So there's a payment details API that you can actually call as a web service. So basically, once you make the payment, right, you get a pay key, which is your identifier, and you can call the payment details API to get a response for each of those individually. In the actual initial response, we don't really tell you exactly what happens, but we will tell you a success, failure, partial payment, things like that. So okay, something fails. And your IPN would also know that, right? What's the IPN that comes to your system would tell you specifically which is the one that passed. But if you specifically want to know what exactly happened, you can also call the payment details web services, which is like a side service along with the payment that you can use to get a status on your APN. Pardon me? To be honest, most of the time it's the recipient. But we actually introduce something called configurable fee, because sometimes if you're the sender giving a commission to your person or employer that is working for you, why are you going to be paying the fee, right? That's where you can decide to absorb the fee. So let's say the transaction fee was 2%, right? And you're paying 2,000, right? So your end agent is going to expect 2,000 rupees deposited in his account. So having him charge the fee does not make sense. So it really depends on the business model. But most of the time it's the recipient.
You guys talk to the payment gateway directly or no? Or you talk to the...
So we have our own payment gateway, right?
You have your own?
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the mobile, like, it was interesting. The only transport you have is HTTP, or there's SMS-based stuff, because mobile devices, not a lot of them will have GPRs. If you're going to be using HTTP.
Yeah. So not at the very moment, but very soon. To be honest, it's just right at the corner. Be anything close. Any more calls?
All right,
Yeah.
any more questions, please?
Yeah, the last thing I was going to say is, again, there's a lot of people in India that not know PayPal and their service. I know that they know PayPal is opening an account and sending money and buying, but you guys are developers. You guys are the one who's going to be the future of innovation. So that's where I want to have you guys take advantage of this. You can just go on a weekend, make a cool little application, go and sell it to some merchant. And use PayPal web services because it's free. You're not going to pay anything. So take advantage of that. So I would appreciate you guys could show up on Friday as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure the audience have greatly appreciated.